Hi, I'm James Varney with NOLA.com and the Times-Picayune. I'm joined by Bob Mann from the Manship School at LSU and also a columnist with NOLA.com and the Times-Picayune. And Mary Landrieu, after 3 terms in the Senate, has now lost to Bill Cassidy, and that means that the state doesn't have any statewide elected Democratic officials. Now, you've worked in Democratic circles in the past. What does the party do? How do they come back?
Well, it's a big question. I mean, I think I don't think anybody really knows at this point. I think a lot of Democrats are still trying to assess what happened and the implications of it. Not having any Democrat. I think part of Landrieu's problem was that she had so few Democrats in the state to come to her aid. I mean,
Yeah, she was kind of solo out there.
yeah, 10 years ago there would have been a governor, there would have been another senator in John Breaux, there would have been another couple of congressmen. There would have even been some national Democrats who were more well respected who could come in and bolster her. This time she was marooned on a desert island.
And I think, and I wrote this a couple times, I mean, I think she got treated kind of shabbily by the party, to be honest. I mean, they pulled the money right after the primary, and they didn't have to tell people about that. I mean, if someone found out, they could write the story, but they didn't have to go and say anything about it. And then, Chuck Schumer did the famous scene where in the basement of the Capitol, and it seemed to me like, Mary had been a party member. She had done on more than one occasion the things that they wanted, and I didn't think she got treated very well. We have a governor's race coming up. Do you think that the Democrats nationally will be willing to throw in the resources that they need to be competitive?
I doubt it. And in fact, I think one thing this probably ensures is that Mitch Landrieu doesn't run for governor.
Yeah, that's a good point.
The Landrieu name is a bit
I'm sure
tarnished.
he was looking at that.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a very talented politician, though. I don't know how much. Do you think you hear in the state some people don't like New Orleans? I think New Orleans gets too much attention. Would that be something he'd have to overcome too if he decided to run?
Yeah,
he's been elected statewide before.
He has, and that helps. And probably now he would be considered the most popular Democrat in the state.
Right.
But that's not saying a lot. And I think my feeling was that Mitch Landrieu could always run for governor by saying, "Let me do for Louisiana what I've done for New Orleans." Well, I don't think that's as strong an argument as I thought it might be 2 or 3 years ago, because I think the sense around the state and probably in New Orleans is that New Orleans still has a long way to go, and it's not to the point where a Democratic mayor could launch a governor's campaign.
Right. That's a good point. I mean, I did think, and I wrote that he deserved to be reelected. I thought he had done a good job and he's worked hard. And like I just said a moment ago, I do think he is a very talented politician. So
Really?
I suppose he's their best shot. I mean, they don't have anybody else in Congress. The bench doesn't seem that deep. So they almost have to go with it. It's almost as if, well, do you think the party will put pressure on him to run, given that he's their best guy?
Well, there is a Democrat in there, and John Bel Edwards, the House Democratic leader,
Well, I didn't mean to dismiss
and so he's going to be he's already sort of gotten crossways a little bit with Landrieu. So, but the polls don't look good for any Democrat against David Vitter, and I think that if Democrats really want to, if they either want to win the governor's mansion or they want to keep Vitter out, they may not be able to do both.
Right. But they want to look viable. They want to look competitive.
But I think for now, honestly, I don't know about you, but I think for now the way that Democrats really assert themselves is choosing between 2 Republicans in runoffs, like they did between Billy Nungesser and Darden in the lieutenant governor's race a few years ago.
Right.
Darden won because he persuaded Democrats to vote for him. I think that if Darden gets in the runoff with Vitter, for example, he wins because the Democrats will vote for him. They're not going to vote for Vitter. Democrats are now reduced to the point where they get to be the arbiters of these races between Republicans.
Although Darden will enter with a real handicap, he's not going to have the money Vitter has.
Right.
I mean, Vitter's loaded.
Vitter is loaded. And Vitter has used some, very
aggressive
creative
tactics on fundraising.
Creative accounting too,
Right.
to get that money moved. Use that money in ways that just a few years ago would not have been seen as legal.
Well, it'll be interesting to see if the Democrats do mount a challenge, and Bob and I'll be back to talk about that and other issues here at NOLA.com.